I'm Doug Haney, Executive Director of Polyphony Music Resources, and today is November 1st, All Saints Day. On All Saints Day, or maybe All Saints Sunday, our congregations often remember those who have died in the year before, sometimes with the tolling of a bell, sometimes with the reading of names. And it's a sober and somber and beautiful and poignant service. Honestly, it was not a part of my Baptist tradition growing up in a small town, but in more recent years, it has become one of the services that I love the most. Deeply meaningful, a wonderful time of reflection. And so on this All Saints Day, I wanted to offer my own reflection on saints and mentors. So, who are saints? Well, saints are those extraordinary or often ordinary folks that God puts in our path who help us stay the course. And for those of us who are in vocational ministry, they're often those who are our cheerleaders, who encourage us on the days when we're tired and our enthusiasm for ministry is waning. I ran across the other day a lovely poem by Malcolm Guite in his little book, After Prayer. There it is. Malcolm Guite was the chaplain at Girton College at Cambridge, and here's his poem, Ordinary Saints. The ordinary saints, the ones we know, our too familiar family and friends, when shall we see them? Who can truly show, while still rough-hewn, the God who shapes our ends? Who will unveil the presence, glimpse the gold that is and always was our common ground? Stretch out a finger, feel along the fold to find the flaw, to touch and search that wound from which the light we never noticed fell into our lives. Remember how we turned to look at them and they looked back? That full-eyed love unselved us, and we turned around, unready for the wrench and reach of grace. But one day we will see them face to face. That's Ordinary Saints by Malcolm Guite. Well, who are the ordinary saints in your life? Or who have those saints been? One of the saints in my life is my maternal grandmother, my Granny Haney. When I was a kid, we lived in the same neighborhood, and actually I could leave the back door of our home, walk across an open field that we called the garden spot, enter her back gate, go through her yard, and slip in her door. Spent many afternoons with her. As the years went by, I still continued to visit from time to time when we were back home in Alpharetta, Georgia. And always at the end of a visit, she would hug me, and she would always say to me, "I want you to know I pray for you every day." These are the saints who help to sustain our journeys. And even when we weren't talking particularly, she often would inquire about the church I was serving and about how ministry was going. We had a sort of a multi-generational line of ministers in our family. I just had this sense that, well, I did know because she said she did, that she prayed for me every day. And that was such a source of strength and comfort. So for all of us this day, especially on All Saints Day, let us give thanks for grandmothers and mothers and grandfathers and fathers who have supported us in our vocational journey. But beyond family, let us give thanks for friends, for church members who were saints and who were cheerleaders for us along the way. Well, what about mentors? Sometimes our mentors are saints and saints are mentors, but this in more recent times, this has become more of a term in business relationships, often references an older person who guides a younger, but it also can tend to have a transactional quality. And what I mean by that is, the older person may offer advice or, career advice to the younger colleague, but in truth, when the younger colleague shines and does well, this reflects well upon the mentor or the elder. However, a mentor can honestly be a very rich relationship. You may remember from English literature in high school or college that Mentor is a character in Homer's The Odyssey. Mentor is an older friend to Odysseus, and when Odysseus left for the Trojan War, he placed Mentor in charge of his son Telemachus and gave Mentor oversight of Odysseus' palace. And our modern concept of mentor grows from this ancient Greek story. One of the most important mentors in my life was Bob Hatfield, who was the longtime minister of music at Dawson Memorial Church. Almost 36 years he served that church. There were many times over the years where I had a rough patch in ministry. I was faced with something that I just didn't feel like I was equipped to handle, and I would maybe get in the car and drive to Birmingham and meet Bob for lunch, and we would talk, and just being with him in these moments gave me a sense that, yes, we were going to get through this, and we were going to, that there were better days ahead. And Bob would often quip at the end of a lunch like this, well, if you take all that advice and $1, you can buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And that does tell you it was many years ago, doesn't it? I give thanks today for the life of Bob Hatfield, who left us much too soon, and for the way that he mentored me, and I'm sure many others. And for all the saints and mentors in our lives this day, I think is a day to remember and to give thanks how they walked beside us through hard days, and they gave us courage to keep moving forward. So on this day, I ask you to think about your own saints and mentors, and especially if they're still living. I would encourage you to reach out to them, pick up the phone, send them an email, send them a card. I know they would love to hear from you. I'll leave you with this question as I begin to wrap up, and really the question is, how have the saints and mentors of your life and my life nurtured our calling? Maybe how have they helped you to sustain that calling through hard days? Well, let me say, I understand that calling is a very personal and subjective experience. Not all of our callings look the same, but in talking with colleagues across the Polyphony Network over and over again, I do hear that people treasure a sense of their call, how they interpret that, and this is very important to them. And there were people in their lives who said to them, I see in you this gift. And there are people who helped them discover that call. And so these are the saints and mentors among us, I think, worth celebrating, and we're giving thanks for them today. And on that note, I just want to invite you to be a part of our Polyphony Conference next year, Thursday through Saturday, February 1st through 3rd, and it's going to be right here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. It will actually feature some of the faculty from Winthrop University, Jeremy Mims and Kristen Wunderlich, and it'll be a marvelous gathering where our Polyphony community comes together. especially to reconnect and to build community and to deepen friendships. Want to let you know that we're going to send out an email tomorrow. Registration is going to open. You'll have information about that. You can go to our website, and I really want to invite you to consider joining us. If it turns out you're not on our email list, I invite you to write me at doug@polyphonyresources.org. And you can find out more information about the conference on our website at www.polyphonyresources.org. So friends, a blessed All Saints Day to you and yours. Breathe, bless, and be well.